show you how to make this super bulky weight, fun hat with all this awesome texture. It uses the Alpine Stitch if you're familiar with that. And for this tutorial, I'm going to be using Lion Brand's Wool Ease Thick and Quick. This is a size 6 super bulky weight yarn, and it has 106 yards, which is perfect. You need one ball for this project. You're also going to need a 10mm hook. I begin with a long tail because I use a pom-pom button in the top of my hat. We are working the hat from the top down, so that's what I use my tail for. Round 1 begins with a chain 4, and you slip stitch into that first stitch to form a ring, and we're going to work round 1 inside the ring. You could also use the magic ring, but I just personally don't like it. Chain 2, and our beginning chain 2 does not count as a stitch. We're going to make 12 double crochet in the ring. And you will notice that I am crocheting over the top of my beginning tail. So just continue making 12 doubles in the ring and crocheting over the tail. Once you have all 12 doubles, you're going to skip over your beginning chain 2 and slip stitch into the top of your first stitch. Then I'm just going to pull on that beginning tail to close that central hole. For round 2, you're going to chain 2, and again, it does not count. We're going to put 2 double crochet in every stitch around. So we are increasing in every stitch. So you're just going to continue putting 2 doubles in every stitch around. And of course, when you finish this round, you should have 24 doubles. At the end of round 2, you're going to skip over the chain 2 and slip stitch into the first double to join. Now for round 3, we're going to chain 2, and of course it does not count as our stitch. For this round, we're going to increase in every other stitch. So for the first stitch, I'm going to put my increase, and that's 2 doubles. And in the next stitch, we're just going to do 1 double. Then we're going to put 2 doubles in the next stitch. And 1 double in the next. You're just going to continue increasing in every other stitch all the way around, and when you're done, you should have 36 stitches. At the end of round 3, you're going to skip the chain 2 and slip stitch into the first double crochet. Now at this point, you need to stop and check your diameter. Your diameter should be between 6.5 and 7 inches, or you need to adjust your hook size and start over. Now we're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet in every stitch around. This is our beginning repeating round. You're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and I'll meet you at the end. You should have, of course, 36 singles. At the end of round 4, you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch to join. Now we're going to chain 2 for round 5. It will not count as our first stitch. We are going to alternate working 2 rounds below the round that we're on and the round that we are on. And remember, our chain 2 does not count, so don't accidentally work around the chain 2. We are going to be making a front post double crochet around the first double crochet 2 rounds below. To front post double, you will yarn over, insert your hook from front to back to front around the post of the double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. And that's our very first stitch. So we're going to skip the stitch that's behind that post stitch and work into the next stitch because we don't want to increase here. In the next stitch, we're going to make 1 double crochet. Now we're going to find the double crochet 2 rounds below the stitch that we're on, and we're going to make a front post double crochet around that post. So that's just a double crochet around the post, going behind the post to make your stitch. There should be a double crochet between each front post double 2 rounds below. Make sure you're skipping the stitch behind your front post double. And we're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch. Now we're going to front post double 2 rounds below the next stitch. So just double crochet around the post 2 rounds below. Skip the stitch behind and double crochet in the next stitch. You're just going to continue repeating the stitch pattern all the way around, making a front post double 2 rounds below, followed by a double crochet in the round that you're on, all the way around, and you should only have 36 stitches when you're done. I'll meet you towards the end. I have 2 stitches left because I wanted to show you. This can be kind of confusing. So our last 2 stitches here, the first one's going to be a front post double, and the very last stitch of your round should be a regular double. The reason I wanted to show you this is because the slip stitch looks like a stitch, and a lot of people assume that the chain 2 is a stitch. You're going to skip over all of that and slip stitch into the first front post double. This is what it should look like. For round 6, we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in every stitch around. Rounds 4 and 6 are the same. So between your post rounds, you will have a round of single crochet. At the end of round 6, you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch to join. For round 7, we're going to chain 2, and of course this does not count as a stitch. Our post stitches should stagger in between the previous post stitches. So when you're looking at the post stitches below, you should be working this round's post stitches in the double crochet that's between them. So we got to start the opposite. So this time we're going to start with a double crochet in the first stitch. And then that way, our next stitch will be a front post double crochet in between the 2 down there. So front post double crochet 2 rounds below. Then you're going to skip the stitch behind the front post double and double in the next stitch. Front post double crochet around the post 2 rounds below. And double crochet in the next stitch. So you're just going to continue repeating this stitch pattern all the way around, making a double crochet and then following it with a front post double crochet 2 rounds below. And you should have, of course, 36 stitches when you're done with this round. But your post stitches should be staggering. They should not be sharing any of the same stitches. So I have 2 stitches left and I wanted to show you. You double crochet in the next stitch, and in the very last stitch, you're going to end on a front post double. And again, you're going to skip over the slip stitch and the chain 2 from before, and you're going to slip stitch into the first double of the round. So as you can see, my post stitches are staggering, and that's exactly what you want. And you also need to make sure that your stitch count is still the same because it's easy to increase. So you're going to repeat the last 4 rounds twice more. So rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. You're going to repeat those last 4 rounds 2 more times. And I'm going to link this in the description box for you so you don't have to search for it. But once you repeat the last 4 rounds twice more, I'll meet you back here. So at this point, you should have 15 rounds total, and your piece should measure about 8 inches. For this very last round, we are going to chain 1, and we're going to work into the back loops only, which are these loops back here. So we're going to make a single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch around. So just repeat doing that all the way around and I'll meet you at the end. So at the end of round 16, you could join with a regular slip stitch if you want, or you can make the invisible join, which is what I prefer to do. And to do that, you're just going to cut your working yarn and then pull your ending tail completely through the last stitch. Then you're going to thread that tail onto a yarn needle and go under both loops of the very first stitch of the round. And then take your needle through the back loop only of the last stitch where you came out. And then it looks seamless. You cannot hardly tell where it ends. Then you're going to have to weave in your tail extremely well because you're not making a knot like you normally would. And this is the seam, and you can see it's nearly invisible, so it's a really nice stitch pattern. Now I'm going to show you how I add my pom-pom button, and because this yarn is so thick, I do have to split it in half. These pom-pom buttons have the instructions on the button, and I just unravel this tail here so that it's not too thick. And then I sew the button on. And I will warn you that you have to be very, very gentle with this strand of yarn because it's a lot weaker when you split it in half and it's very easy to break. And then once you do that, you just cut off the ends. Now this is how I do my pom-poms so that my customers can remove the pom-poms. So I just take a piece of scrap yarn through the elastic, and I get these from Amazon, and I'll link them in the description box. And then I just knot off the bottom and cut off the excess. And then I just take this tail through the top of the hat. And the reason that I like to do it this way without a hook or without any kind of tool is because my customers don't have crochet hooks, most of them. So they need to be able to get it on and off without using a crochet hook. So this was my solution. And then you just slide the elastic over the button. And now that they have a way of getting this off, then you're just going to add your tag and you're done. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.